Hello. Man, what a weekend. I took 2 days off of, sorry, third words. People outside walking, talking. People outside be walking and talking. Madness. My coffee down now too, if I can. So I took 2 days off of absorbing new info. And I mean, some info still kind of snuck in, but I stopped seeking it out. Whereas the last 5 days, I was just in pure info mode. It was quite interesting. And I think by Friday, I was kind of getting like overwhelmed a bit. Even just like the way I was talking on that last video. I think that was Friday. It was either Friday or Thursday. I was just like going between topics. Like I couldn't even finish the whole point of the video. I named it "How About 12?" because it's like alluding to the idea. Well, alluding to, that's like a too fancy a word. I'm just like saying. This the last video was "How About 2 Manias?" The one before that was a spiritual journey or mania. So this one is "How About 12 Manias? Do 12 manias make a truth?" Because I've found more and more people, like they're just jumping out of the woodworks, people experiencing the same kind of thing that I experienced and that Aliana experienced, which is, at its essence, is communicating with this feeling of love inside. So, I shouldn't say dozens, because there's for sure 3 of us now who have had this same experience where we've been on drugs, which is a thing. Psychedelic drugs. For them, shrooms. Both of them were on shrooms. And me, I was on a disassociative, but it still did the same thing. Still put me in a psychedelic state. But all 3 of us felt as if we communicated with a God thing. This thing that seemed to us like God. Also referred to as love. Because, like, God is love, apparently. That just seems like a truth to us. And so I say dozens. Because I've talked to these 2 other people. But we were all invited to a secret subreddit, a private subreddit on Reddit. A group. I think it has like 700 members or so. And I scrolled through the posts and the comments, and it's all the subreddit. I'm not going to say the name. Well, maybe I should. Yeah, is so why not? It's like almost like a paranoid thought, like, oh, don't say it. It's a secret, but no, you can't even find it unless you've been invited to it, anyways. So the subreddit is called Sapient Non-Biological Entities. Yeah, SNBEs. And so that's just a big old fancy word for ghosts or spirits or gods or angels or demons. It's a really nice word. It's an all-encompassing word. It's nifty. Now the creator, the guy who came up with that word, in the bar, he says that God doesn't exist, and like he has a big old idea about what these things are. But not everyone agrees. A lot of people on there feel as if there's this God thing compelling them to do stuff. Like, just from what I was browsing, I haven't looked too much into it because I was on holiday for the weekend. So I shouldn't have said dozens. I should have said 3. But I don't know though. Even on other subreddits, like on energy work, there's this person on there named It's Bui, who I've been seeing like do say a lot of stuff that just seems so relevant. Like he's talking about what the world was going through, and I wish I could remember the details, because I feel like I'm just saying stuff, and to the skeptical, critical eye watching, oh my god, body, chill, just let me talk. Like doing a million things. But to the skeptical viewer, I'm not really proving anything. I'm just like saying, whoa, so this happened, and then this happened, and this happened. I'm not even really going into too much detail, because the details, I could remember them if I really tried, but my memory's shit. That's why I write a lot of stuff down. But I write it down. I actually put it into my phone, and I record on my phone too. And I can't read while I record at the same time. So it limits me for these videos. These videos are literally just pure, unfiltered, unconscious thought. No, not unconscious thought. Pure, unfiltered, conscious thought. And, but yeah, so I want to finish that point up, tie it up real nice. The idea of the last video was just that I'm finding more people who would appear by scientific standards to be deemed as maniacs, just by the criteria, the delusions of grandeur, the euphoric, bordering on hysterical joy, the seeing meaning in all sorts of things. I think those three are the big characteristics of mania. And also, like I know Aliana was saying, like she used to be lazy and kind of tired, like not as upbeat before the transformation, and now after she like is go go go, and so her family kind of reacted, and now she's on the lithium stuff, which treats bipolar disorder and more importantly treats mania. They've like identified something in the brain that causes this mania, and like my thought is, how do they, like, correlation doesn't always equal causation, as they say. Like, would it not also make sense that that isn't what causes mania per se, but that is what happens when mania happens in the brain? It's like the same idea that well, but then that being said, yeah, I was about to say the same idea that, you know, serotonin causes happiness, or does happiness cause serotonin? But then, you know, they do try with antidepressants to give people things that boost serotonin, and sometimes that helps people. So, I don't know. That's another thing I'd like to know more about. I'm curious about that stuff. I mean, clearly drugs are important. Like, look, drugs caused all of us to get here. And she was saying it helps her feel more focused, which is cool. Man, what was my point? Why did I start talking about that? Shit. What? Again, that brings me to the other point of my last video. Yeah. Body. Hilarious. Okay. The other point of my last video was the stuff with my doctor. Yes. It says on Friday I had an appointment with the psychiatrist, the second, to get a second opinion, because the first psychiatrist, you know, I've talked about this back in my other videos with the joys of adult ADHD and the self-medicating with cocaine video, which was like 20 minutes where I pretty well went into detail about all this, but I didn't, not in the new stuff. So I've gotten to see the second opinion guy. I get referred to him, and I got referred to somebody else, but then I missed that appointment because I was doing my 4-day spirit journey. And I'm kind of curious, I wonder how it would have went if I went to see that doctor, because then it was a different one now. And the one I saw, the different one, wound up being literally the dream doctor. Like, he's what I've read about someone. The funny thing is, the family doctor that referred me there, they too were like against me. Like, they disagreed. They must have just thought I was, in their defense, they must have thought I was just some, punk trying to get drugs, because they referred me to this guy, not saying I wanted help with my ADHD. They referred me to him saying I wanted help with drug addiction, and I was sent there with substance abuse disorder on my thing, and ADHD is on there too. But then this doctor, as I'm telling him my story, and he's like, so when are you going to get this second opinion? And I'm like, I thought I was getting it right now. And he goes, I'm a cannabis addiction specialist. That's what you're here for. But I also happen to know about ADHD. And so he just happened to be pretty knowledgeable in ADHD. And he's saying that that the family doctor who referred me to him, and who also made me wait 2 months to go back and talk to the first psychiatrist, they should have just trialed other drugs with me. He was saying all this was basically unnecessary, and that me being sent to him was doubly unnecessary. Sorry, I need some coffee, because he and his team of psychiatrists are typically, it should be reserved for severe cases. And he was saying, you're not an extreme case. You've only tried two medications for your ADHD. And he's saying it's more so when you get to 4 and if still none are working, then then you want to see a specialist. And so now he's sending me back to the family doctor, and my hope is that now they're going to be cool and like work with me. And I'm a little afraid, I guess, worried that they won't, seeing as, you know, they did do all that bullshit. Like, I'm wondering if they'll still kind of contest and make things difficult, which would be unfortunate, because I'd like to get this figured out as soon as possible so I can leave, because I need to make a trip to Alberta and visit my old friends, because that is what the God love things said I could do if I wanted to help the world. And now, ever since these last 2 days, I guess, ever since I kind of decided that that's what I want to do on Friday. So this is the 3rd day since then. So today I haven't noticed this feeling yet, but yesterday and the day before, just had this burning desire to go. Like, I love my family, don't get me wrong. They're nice people here, and I like this town too, the city I live in. It's a nice place. I like the job I was doing. It's not a bad job. I have a future. I could do school and get a better job, especially if I get the ADHD medication. But what do you do when you feel that pull? You know, like how many times in biblical religious stories was somebody pulled? Oh man, my body is so against me today. Voice dying. I must have to stop smoking, because it's probably what it's all from. It's like runny nose and cough and throat and ugh. So that'll be another nice thing about medication. No need to smoke this imperfect thing, because, this is a tangent, I know, and I'm going to forget what I was talking about, but it's cool. I realized the way cannabis helps me is I was wondering, you know, how it feels like I'm self-medicating with cannabis. A lot of it is fun too, but I'm doing it to feel better, to feel a certain way. But yet it's imperfect, and I wanted to figure out how, and I figured out how. It's because it doesn't treat the root cause being understimulation, which stimulant drugs fix. What it does is it treats the symptoms. It treats the restlessness. It makes me not mind as bad doing understimulating things. Like, that has to be it. Just made so much sense, because it's not like I smoke this and all of a sudden I go and do writing, you know. I do productive things that I'd like to do, creative things that are maybe not immediately gratifying. But yeah, I don't do those things when I smoke. I did those things when I was microdosing the cocaine before it got out of hand and before I had to stop that. So, and I'm going to do those things when I get the ADHD medication. This is long enough, 13 minutes. I was still kind of rambly, but I got the 2 topics nailed, and that's what I wanted to do, was just re-clarify what I was talking about in the last video, because that one was super rambly. Just tangents and tangents and tangents. That's what it should have been called. Okay. Bye.